Well, this is Pestle Man 1951, and we're all about to find out why they call me Pestle Man. In the winter of 97, I found 27 museum quality pestles like these puppies here right out my front door. Now I'm going to be out front here. If you have any ladies with kind of delicate sensibilities, or any children, female children less than voting age, please just turn this off now or ask them to leave the room. But I just turn it off. View it later when you know you're by yourself. This is not intentionally rough, but you know, we're dealing with artifacts here from a culture that had very different mores and values as we do. For instance, just to give you a quick look at something I'm talking about here, this little thing right here, not a lot of doubt what it is. I once had a professor try and tell me that it was a ringed pestle that had just the bottom had broken off of it. And I thought, oh yeah, they make things to look like that and then break the bottom off them and don't repair them or anything like that. It's clearly, it's a stone phallus. I mean, there's just no other way to get around it, because it is a kind of a recurring theme with these folks. As you'll see right here, that's a pretty, it's somewhat eroded, but it is a fairly clear cut kind of an image there. And also, I mean, this thing is polished to just an unbelievable level of smoothness. But you kind of got your theme still working there. And then you got this whomperdinger here that is basically, I think, kind of a stylized representation of someone who is not Jewish, if you take my drift. But this, I found this thing here was a heartbreaker, but I was glad to get it. It's just under 2 feet long. It has 3 breaks in it. This one here and another one up here, or 2 breaks actually. It's in 3 major pieces. And there's a little piece that blew out on the side, and I've super glued it all back together. But in terms of you know, cool tools, that's one of my favorites that I have found. Apparently what they did is they took and tied a rawhide strap. You know, they couldn't sit and pound with this pestle all day long. The culture that was using it used it in stone mortars and portable stone mortars, bowls. I'll show you some of them later. I got a pile out back. But they would tie a rawhide strap on it right here, then run it up to a tree and tie it on a tree limb so that the vast majority of the weight would be supported by the tree limb, and then all it took was a little weight up and down to shift the balance, and that way they could, you know, wield the heft of this thing to get their job done, and not have to hold that thing up in the air by just arm power, because that gets old quick. And but in terms of weird tools, okay, now take a look at this thing here. My joke is this thing's called Franken-pestle, because it is clearly a pestle that was used quite extensively, but it was a terrible selection to start with. I mean, there's big flaws running through the rock that are, you know, quite apparent, and they're not new. They were there when the guy picked it up and started to use it, or actually the girl. These, you know, something else that is, you might keep in mind that these types of tools right here are almost exclusively used by females, which makes you think there was probably some pretty serious ribald jokery going down all day long amongst the girls as they're out there pounding away with their mortars and pestles. And yeah, back to Pestle. I lost it. Oh yeah, here it is. But, you know, it just goes to show that there's, you know, at different times, different cultures, like now, you know, poor folks had poor ways, and the guy that made this one here was probably, you know, kind of an outcast or an outlaw. It was fairly easy to do with the local guys too. They had really kind of strict rules. Some of them, you know, some of their, I won't go into them, but some of their rules were, you know, really harsh and really terrible. I'm not going to say it. But anyway, I got 5-gallon buckets of manos here. They did a lot of manoing and metate culture, and then a lot of the mortar and pestle. But, you know, as ever so often somebody asks me why I'm called Pestle Man, and I just kind of wanted to get it out there. Like I say, in 97, I found 27 museum qualities of these babies here. And this little thing here, which is really, you got to admit, kind of in a category all by himself. Well, bye, tubers.